Well, welcome everyone. I am John Getchis. I'm a Senior Vice President with Ginnie Mae, and I'll be the host of today's ceremonies. The agenda that we have today for the ceremony will consist of opening remarks by Secretary Castro, Vice Minister Yeo, followed by remarks by President Tozer and Ambassador An. After which the official signing ceremony will commence, and thereafter we encourage each of you to personally meet with our guests during the reception following the ceremony. Before we begin, I would like to extend a warm welcome to two previous presidents of Ginnie Mae joining us today. Dan Kearney served as Ginnie Mae's second president from 1974 to 1976 during the Ford administration. It was a challenging time in our country marked by inflation, recession, coining new national terms such as the oil crisis and the Rust Belt. 9% mortgage rates and the $55,000 loan limit marked the environment. I also welcome Ronald Rosenfeld, Ginnie Mae's 15th president, serving 3.5 years from 2001 to 2004 under President George W. Bush's administration. Mr. Rosenfeld's term began during a mild recession and concluded with a strong rebound in world equity markets with the Dow exceeding 10,000 for the first time. It was marked by $30 a barrel for oil, 6 to 7% of mortgage rates, and loan limits were now migrating to the low $300,000 limit. For today, the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transport is a government agency in Korea dedicated to balanced, environmentally friendly urban development and residential stability for low-income people. This mission is one that should sound very familiar to everybody within HUD. In addition to its housing and urban development portfolio, the ministry also promotes safe and convenient transport services in the road, railway, and aviation sectors. This ministry, we can think of it as the equivalent of our Housing and Urban Development and Department of Transportation functions. In order to be the Department of Opportunity, HUD and Ginnie Mae must build important and often international partnerships. This Memorandum of Understanding with the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transport builds upon an important strategic alliance in U.S.-Korean relations. I would like to briefly introduce our first esteemed guest. First, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, the Honorable Julián Castro. Before joining President Obama's cabinet, Secretary Castro served as the mayor of the city of San Antonio, Texas, where he rose to prominence as a national leader in urban development. Under his leadership, San Antonio launched multiple community revitalization efforts that continues this work, charging the department with giving each and every American the opportunity to thrive. Please join me in welcoming the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, the Honorable Julián Castro. Joining us also, Vice Minister Yeo from the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transport. Mr. Yeo served as Vice Minister of the ministry since March of 2013, where he used decades of policy experience to aid the Korean government. Included in this experience is a 2-year secondment at HUD and Ginnie Mae from 2007 to 2009. Hopefully he learned some of our good habits in addition to our American hospitality. Please welcome an old and dear friend, Vice Minister Yeo. Our third esteemed guest is Ted Tozer, President of Ginnie Mae. President Tozer has more than 30 years of experience in the mortgage industry, including more than 20 years at National City Bank, where he helped build that institution and one of our nation's prominent lenders of conventional government and private label residential mortgages. Upon his arrival at Ginnie Mae nearly 5 years ago, President Tozer enthusiastically embraced Ginnie Mae's mission to link global capital to our nation's housing finance markets. His visits to Korea and other nations that vigorously support our securities program is the reason we are here today. With that, I would like to introduce President Tozer. And finally, I'd like to introduce Ambassador An from the Embassy of Korea to the United States. Mr. An was appointed Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to the United States by President Park in May of 2013. Ambassador An has a distinguished professional career as a diplomat since joining the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 1978. He has served in India, Switzerland, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and had more recently served as Korea's ambassador to Belgium and European Union. It's my distinct honor to welcome and introduce Ambassador An. Thank you all. We now invite remarks from Secretary Castro.
Good morning. Well, thank you very much, John, for that introduction. I also want to, of course, thank Ted Tozer and the entire Ginnie Mae staff and organization for their great work on behalf of the American people. Who's here from Ginnie Mae? Raise your hand. Thank you all very much for the great work you do. I would, of course, like to express my deep gratitude to Vice Minister Yao and Ambassador An and all of our special guests from the Korean government. On behalf of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, 환영 합니다. Welcome to Washington. HUD is very proud to call you both partners and friends, and it's truly our honor to host you this morning. Let me just say that when I was mayor of San Antonio, one of our sister cities was Gwangju, and I had the opportunity to visit about 3 years ago and to see the beauty of Korea and learn more about the excellent things happening in the nation and the beauty of the people. And we're so happy to have you here today. We gather today to celebrate the strong and enduring bonds between the United States and Korea. Of course, throughout history, our two countries have worked closely to advance shared interests and to achieve common goals. Our soldiers have stood side by side on the battlefield to protect our freedom. Our businesses have partnered together to create jobs and to fuel growth for our nations. Our countries have also made a great cultural impact on each other. So make no mistake, the U.S.-Korean partnership has enriched both peoples. And now we must build on that progress. We live in an increasingly interconnected world where our futures and our fortunes are more shared than they ever have been before. It's in all of our interest to deepen our engagement and to advance mutually beneficial goals. President Obama is deeply committed to this work. He has visited Korea 4 times, more than any other United States president. And during his tenure, our economic friendship is flourishing. The historic U.S.-Korea Free Trade Agreement was ratified in 2012 and will generate economic benefits on both sides of the ocean for generations to come. Last year, we had $125 billion in bilateral trade. And later this month, Commerce Secretary Penny Pritzker will lead a trade mission to South Korea to spur even more economic activity. And without question, this enhanced economic cooperation is creating prosperity and opportunity for both of our citizens. But to shape the future that all of us want, we've got to do more than just trade goods and services. We also have to trade ideas and knowledge and expertise. Knowledge is a particularly invaluable commodity in this 21st century, which is why the partnership between HUD and the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transport has been so fruitful. As we all know, our two organizations share common goals of shaping thriving communities, of supporting holistic development that links housing to transit options, to jobs and other community assets, and ensuring that people from all economic backgrounds have the chance to access these opportunities. We've long collaborated on housing and urban development issues. Ginnie Mae, which is a wholly owned government corporation within HUD, has been essential in this work. Ginnie Mae issues the only mortgage-backed securities that carry the full faith and credit guarantee of the United States government, ensuring our mortgage system has liquidity. This work helps families, including responsible first-time and lower-income borrowers, get the financing they need to buy a home, to build wealth, and to strengthen their own local communities. Today's MOU will take this partnership one step further. Through this agreement, we're going to share ideas and information about important priorities, including financing affordable housing, implementing sustainable community development, and strengthening the housing markets in both our countries. I'm confident that this MOU will help us achieve those goals. And I'm reminded of an old Korean proverb that beads are not considered jewelry unless they're woven together. In other words, we're much greater when we're working in partnership than when we work alone. And that's why I know that together we're going to ensure that the next chapter of United States-Korean relations is the best one yet. And I look forward to working with you in the future to make our common hopes a reality for both the American and the Korean people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We will now hear Vice Minister Yo's remarks.
Good morning. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude for the kind welcoming remarks from His Excellency Julián Castro, Secretary of U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Given the significance of this event, the Minister of Merit should be present at the signing ceremony. However, we have the parliamentary inspection of the government offices on the same day, which is one of the most important annual schedules for the Korean National Assembly and our ministry. Therefore, I would like to ask for your kind understanding about my presence on behalf of the minister. I personally worked for HUD and Ginnie Mae for 2 years back in 2007. Therefore, it gives me even greater pleasure that I could return here for such a meaningful event. The signing of this MOU has been a long-cherished desire of both ministries, but has not been fulfilled until the willingness and the interests of Your Excellency and all of you finally produce the fruitful result today. I expect that the MOU will provide a useful opportunity for both countries to deepen our cooperative relationship in the field of housing and urban development. As we are well aware, Korea has achieved rapid economic growth after the Korean War from $80 of GNP per capita in the 1960s to $25,000 in the 2010. In the course of such a remarkable economic development, housing and the urban environment for people have also significantly changed. Poor housing conditions without minimum equipment have improved to quality and decent housing. The lack of housing has also been largely addressed as seen in 103% of high housing supply rate as of 2010. Against this backdrop, with an aim to share such progress in housing and urban development with the neighboring countries and provide assistance to developing countries. Korea will host the 5th Asia-Pacific Ministers' Conference on Housing and Urban Development in Seoul. I learned that some of you here will be present at the conference. Taking this opportunity, I once again would like to ask for your active participation in the 5th HUD conference. It is true that Korea has achieved outstanding growth in housing and urban development. However, we have still a way to go through, learning from other countries and identifying any need for further improvement. Although the absolute volume of housing becomes higher, still the house cost for low-income family is the problem to be solved. In addition, drastic urbanization has also brought many challenges to us, including overcrowded large cities and the entailing problems relating to transport, environment, and safety. In this regard, the Korean government has a high expectation on the signing of this MOU, which focuses on sharing policies, exchanging information in the housing and urban development. I believe that since the U.S. started its efforts to find solutions, housing welfare and urbanization before we did, your experience and policy cases will be a good reference to Korea's policy. In addition, I also expect that when HUD promotes housing and urban development support projects through neighboring countries or international organizations, MORIT will be able to join such efforts based on its experience to improve housing environment of Korea. I sincerely hope that the signing of this MOU will serve as a valuable venue to widen the scope of mutual cooperation in more various ways. Once again, I would like to express my deepest thanks to Julián, Castro, and the officials from HUD for making this meaningful event happen. I wish that the bilateral cooperation will last forever. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Vice Minister Yao, for your aspirational thoughts. I will now invite President Ted Tozer for his comments.
Thank you. Good morning. And on behalf of Ginnie Mae, I would like to thank Secretary Castro for his leadership and welcome our guests from the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transport, Vice Minister Yeo, and Ambassador An from the Korean Embassy. I'm glad to see so many leaders here from the U.S. housing finance industry. Today, we are formally recognizing the important relationship between Korea, HUD, and Ginnie Mae as partners contributing to the stability of the global financial markets. Korea is an essential partner in HUD and Ginnie Mae, and by signing this intergovernmental Memorandum of Understanding on housing and housing finance, we hope to encourage and enhance this already strong partnership. Our nations share many common interests. This is especially true concerning housing finance. Korea is one of Asia's most successful democracies and largest economies. The United States-Korea alliance is a strong bond that is fundamental to regional stability and prosperity. Our two countries share important interests and vital values. We both promote political and economic freedom and securing of prosperity for the people of both countries and international community as a whole. I believe this MOU between the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transport, HUD and Ginnie Mae, will highlight the importance of the bilateral relationship between the United States and Korea. Through the exchange of information on housing finance and housing markets, we anticipate enhanced understanding of the mortgage markets across both countries. particularly Korea and the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transport, recognize the important role that Ginnie Mae plays in housing finance. Ginnie Mae successfully balances the relationships of the private markets with the United States government, delivering top securitization capacities and operational expertise that attracts global capital to the American housing finance system. The MOU recognizes Ginnie Mae as a respected model for expanding home ownership through affordable housing finance to large segments of the U.S. population. Home ownership is not only cherished in the United States and Korea, but also among the other emerging economies within the Asia-Pacific region. The milestone success of Ginnie Mae's $1.5 trillion outstanding guaranteed MBS also provides witness to the global acceptance of Ginnie Mae as an important component of the United States' economic recovery and improving housing markets. Through strength, simplicity, and agility, the MBS guarantee program, Ginnie Mae has seen steady increased growth in the share of the secondary market in the past few years. Ginnie Mae is a healthy financial institution that has generated positive earnings through the recent crisis. Ginnie Mae continues to trend in that same direction with the current fiscal year profits for the U.S. government of approximately $630 million. Ginnie Mae guaranteed MBS are backed by 9.1 million mortgages and current outstanding balance of over $1.5 trillion. Annual guaranteed MBS growth has been averaging about 12.2% since 2010. The MOU is a fundamental recognition of the importance of the success of the Ginnie Mae program to raising funding for low to moderate income Americans. By signing this MOU, Korea is acknowledging the start of an ongoing educational relationship with Ginnie Mae. Thank you, Vice Minister Yo, for bringing your team here to Washington. I look forward to working with you and look forward to working with the many housing finance leaders here today. I believe we will be working on this partnership for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, President Tozer. If I could now ask Ambassador Ahn for his closing remarks to this event. Thank you.
Good morning. Let's try second time. Good morning. Third time. Good morning. Right. Well, as a matter of fact, this is a great day for me. Yesterday, it rained. Today, look at the sky, right? But that is not the only reason why I think it's a great day for me, in the sense that in our presence, we have Secretary Castro and Vice Minister Yo. He came all the way from Korea to here. 14 hours of flight. He flew 14 hours of flight to attend this ceremony. And then Ted, then of course, we lived through 2008 when we had the financial crisis, global financial crisis, and we know what happened to all those financial institutions. And then this morning, I met Ted for the first time. I asked him, how did you survive through 2008 global financial crisis? What did he say? We didn't simply survive the global financial crisis. We thrived through the financial crisis. Can you imagine that, right? So that's the reason why I think this is a great day for me. When I find myself on a great day, I always make a point of making 3 points. Some of you already know that, right? So my first point would be the relations between Korea and then the United States. I'm Ambassador of Korea in Washington, D.C. So that is my favorite subject, the status of relationship between Korea and then the United States. Last year, I came to Washington as an ambassador, and then we commemorated the 60th anniversary of security alliance between Korea and then the United States. Secretary Castro, Ted, as well as my Vice Minister Yo, they all referred to this importance of security alliance between Korea and then the United States. We commemorated 60th anniversary of security alliance between Korea and then the United States. I don't think there are too many security alliances which is as strong as Korea-US alliance is today. And then to what do we owe this strength, exceptional strength of Korea-US alliance? I think it is because of the fact that we renew our alliance. We have been renewing our alliance for the past 60 years. That, I think, is the reason why, after 60 years, it is as strong as it is today. Secretary Castro, he stole one of my points, which is which is President Obama. He has been to Korea no less than 4 times. And I always think this is just amazing in the sense that the country President Obama visited most frequently as a president of the United States, that is Mexico, 5 times. And then what is the next country he visited most frequently? Korea, 4 times. Mexico, it is just on your border, right? Korea, as I already told you, is 14 hours away. That's amazing, isn't it? But that's not the only amazing figure I can share with you this morning. There are 70,000 Korean students studying at graduate and undergraduate levels in this country. 70,000. Let me emphasize once again, 70,000. The largest number of students, they come from China, 200,000. Second largest from India, 100,000. We are third, 70,000. What is the population of China? What is the population of India? They are 30 times larger. But when it comes to number of students, we are third, and by proportion to population, we're the largest and then most highly represented country from anywhere in the world. That, I think, would be, well, just a couple of figures, but at the same time, more than sufficient to assure you about the strength of bilateral relations between Korea and then the United States. Is my first point. My second point, what is the meaning of MOU we are concluding today? And I think I already told you that, which is that the reason why our alliance is as strong as it is today after 60 years, it is because we have been renewing it all the time. How do we do that? I think we should be broadening the relationship and deepening the relationship. And I think this MOU would be remembered as a milestone to do that. That is to say, broaden our relationship and deepen our relationship. And then let us just think about the common challenges we have in providing affordable housing and in making our cities safer and more comfortable. That, I think, is a common challenge we face between Korea and then the United States. Why? Because urbanization is an unrelenting process that both of our countries have to deal with. So I just think about where would be the better area than in the housing and urban development that we should be further strengthening cooperation between our 2 countries. So that is my second point. That is the meaning of the MOU we are concluding today. My third and last point would be this, which is that concluding MOU is great, but at the same time, I think what is even more important is how to implement it. And again, Secretary Castro, he stole my point once again by saying this Korean proverb, which is, bees, they are not as precious as they should be before they are woven together. Before they are woven together. That, in fact, is a Korean proverb, which I have forgotten for a long, long time. So thank you so much for reminding me about the Korean proverb. But at the same time, spirit is there. And then the spirit is, MOU is important, but at the same time, what is even more important is we implement it in the right way. And I think, what does the MOU says? It says about exchange of information. It says about exchange of personnel. It also says about joint research project. And then earlier today, we had an opportunity to chat a little bit with Secretary Castro. And then that was exactly the point he made, in the sense that I'm really excited about that particular point, that is to say, joint research project that we are going to conduct between Korea and the United States. And I said to myself, on that particular point, not only stealing my point, Secretary Castro is on the same page with me. So when I heard about this MOU, I was very encouraged to hear that later in the afternoon today, then we are going to have a meeting between relevant officials coming from, I guess, HUD, as well as Ginnie Mae on the one hand, and then officials coming from Korean Ministry of Construction and Transport. So they will be meeting today. So they are wasting no time. We'll conclude the MOU this morning, and then they would be implementing it beginning from the afternoon, right? And at the same time, I heard there is going to be a joint research project between Korea and then the United States. There is one institute in Korea, and then the institute in the United States would be Woodrow Wilson Center. And then the project would be how our cities can cope with the challenges arising from environmental changes, climate change, how our cities could be dealing with those new challenges. And then, of course, the examples are many. I mean, there was Hurricane Katrina, and then we know what it did to New Orleans. And then there was, other natural calamities that we had to deal with. And then all of them, in a sense, could be attributed to environmental challenges and then climate change. So again, I tell myself, that's a great subject on which we can have this joint project between Korea and the United States. But at the same time, I know there is one thing you, Secretary Castro, can do in order to ensure that MOU will be implemented in the best way it should be. What is that? That is for you to come and visit Korea. Right? So thank you so much. This is my great day. And why is it great? Because of the weather, because of these fine gentlemen with us, but at the same time, because of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ambassador Ahn, for those wonderful words. Very encouraging. Now, for the official ceremony, 2 years in the making, is the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between HUD, Ginnie Mae, and the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transport. We all may witness the signing of this agreement between Secretary Castro, Vice Minister Yao, and President Tozer.
He's even extra.